Fred Weir is a journalist and political analyst and joins us now from Moscow. Fred, it's good to see you. You know, Russia says that pumping weapons into Ukraine is only going to prolong the war. At the beginning of this conflict, we saw very basic ammunition being sent to Ukraine as the war grew, or as the I should say that as the war kind of prolonged or carried on, the US sent more sophisticated weapons, in a sense, kind of trying to keep it at a stalemate. In other words, prolonging the war. Is that how you see it as well?
No, I think that the West, particularly the United States, would really like to see Russia defeated in this war. Maybe not like totally collapsed, but maybe even that. I think there's certain think tanks in Washington that do talk about the decolonization of Russia and sort of salivate over breaking Russia up. But I think that the business with weapons, at least when it comes to sophisticated fighter jets, is mainly political. Like, they have to give Zelensky something. He's at the G7, he's making his pitch. They've all said they support him. But these fighter jets, first of all, they're not wonder weapons. It's an old, good, apparently really good frontline fighter plane, but I doubt that it's superior to Russia's frontline fighter planes. It's just that they're running out of things to give to Ukraine to help it, to give it the momentum that that they hope it will get. And Zelensky, now he's made this another major international trip. He's clearly trying to get support, to get people to make donations to Ukraine. And so this is just the next step.
So you don't agree with Russia's position that sending more sophisticated weapons would only prolong the war?
Oh, no, I agree with that. I think that obviously, I think everybody agrees the war would have been over within a few months if the West wasn't going all out to support Ukraine. They've poured enormous amounts of weaponry, all different kinds of it, into Ukraine. And I think they really hope that Ukraine will win. There's huge psychological stakes invested in this upcoming offensive, counteroffensive that Ukraine is supposed to be mounting. So no, I understand the Russian frustration about it completely. And all of this, I mean, these revelations about, for instance, things like British Secret Service soldiers, SAS soldiers being stationed in Ukraine and very close to the battlefront, things that have been revealed recently tell you just how much Western countries, especially the United States, Britain, Poland, have invested in their hopes for Ukrainian victory.
Fred, do you think that the American establishment really believes that Russia can be defeated, or is it just trying to contain Russia? And in that sense, sending weapons to Ukraine as the flashpoint of the battle, all of the fighting has been in the Donbass in the east, the majority of the battles, and we're seeing in Bakhmut now that Russian forces are advancing, so they're sending more weapons, in essence, to prolong the war. But do you really think the U.S. establishment thinks that Russia can be defeated?
I guess not. I think that those Discord leaks showed pretty clearly that within at least the intelligence and foreign policy establishments in the United States, they realize how difficult the situation of Ukraine is in this war. Whatever, I mean, they fought brilliantly, they fought very well, and the Russians have blundered a lot and have never enunciated clear war aims or a straightforward strategy. So it's I mean, the war is a monstrosity in general. But I think that the mathematics are such that Ukraine probably can't win in the long run, and that most Americans seem to, I mean, people in decision-making positions seem to know that. I think they're just roped into this policy. You know, they. I mean, this is I mean, the American military intelligence political establishment has fought repeated wars in the past 20 years, especially in Afghanistan,
Right.
in Iraq, in Libya,
Indeed.
which they didn't really. I mean, they went all in, and they went in and spent huge amounts of money, but they didn't really seem, at the end of the day, to know what they were doing. And I'm afraid that may be the case in Ukraine as well.
Just finally, Fred, very quickly, do you believe or do you think that the US-led NATO alliance is using Ukraine as a proxy against Russia?
I think that is the case. I mean, they may totally support Ukraine, and everything they say about Ukraine may be sincere, but they have been winding up Ukraine to fight. I think they are definitely prolonging the war, putting everything into Ukraine, as I said, in hopes that Ukrainians will somehow win. If that's not a proxy war, I don't know what is.
Fred, thank you very much indeed for your contribution. Fred Ware is a journalist and political commentator joining us live out of the Russian capital, Moscow.